to a trap. Start with float math. At a roughly $730 billion pre-money mark, even a cautious 5% float means on the order of $40 billion of stock could show up day one. That's not vibes. That's inventory. Markets clear inventory with buyers, not tweets. And real buyers today. A lot of them are rules. Passive funds don't ask, is it cheap? They ask, is it in the index? If it's eligible, they buy in proportion to its weight. Float adjusted, sure, but the number's still huge because the base is huge. A weight that lands near the top decile drags a tidal wave of forced flows behind it. Your 401k target date fund is hitched to that wagon. It's built to be boring. It will execute the rule, not your gut. Here's where the flywheel starts wobbling. Price-insensitive selling meets price-insensitive buying, but not on the same clock. Early insiders and syndicate desks trickle supply across the lockup and secondary windows. Index money fills at rebalance points. In between, liquidity gaps. If opening demand isn't deep enough, the book thins, market makers widen spreads, and circuit breakers do their dance. A halt isn't a scandal. It's physics when size outruns depth. Get this, buybacks usually soak up the net issuance in normal times. But buybacks don't buy your IPO. They buy their own stock. So when a historic float arrives, it competes with the one consistent net buyer in modern markets. That starves everything else. Portfolio managers sell what's liquid to fund what's mandatory. Good companies go down to make room for a new ticker they didn't even underwrite. That's the crowd out. Meanwhile, the index committees are doing math you can front-run but not stop. Free float factors, minimum days traded, sector caps, and fast entry rules vary by index: S&P, NASDAQ, MSCI, FTSE. Some allow accelerated adds for mega caps. Others stage in over quarters. All roads lead to the same place: a big, date-driven gulp of shares into funds that track benchmarks your pension uses by default. That's the squeeze. And if it were just one IPO, maybe the street could digest it. But stack the calendar with SpaceX and maybe Anthropic near rich private marks, and the supply story goes vertical. Even at 5 to 10% floats, you're talking tens of billions each. Dealers can't warehouse that for weeks. Retail can't absorb that at scale. Hedge funds won't play hero if borrow is tight and borrow cost spikes. So the marginal buyer, again, is passive. On a schedule. Now picture the first hour. The bell rings. Allocated shares flip a little higher. Momentum screens light up. Retail piles in. Then early profit-taking meets thin books. One heavy market unopened sell leans into the bid stack. Spread widens. Volatility triggers. A 5-minute halt resets the tape. All goes recalibrate and shift to participate-only orders. That's when your target date fund sends its day one flows, because contributions settled yesterday. It buys the air pocket. Then the close comes, and closing auctions become the real price. That's where the rebalances bite. Why is this a death funnel for you? Because you're downstream of rules with no breaks. If the stock rips, you chase higher weights with new contributions. If the stock dips, you mechanically add on the way down to maintain target weights. Either way, you're the liquidity. Insiders aren't. Vendors aren't. The syndicate isn't after day one. You. Here's the twist that makes it worse. As the weight climbs in cap-weighted funds, equal weight or factor funds may be forced sellers elsewhere to fund client redemptions chasing AI exposure. Money moves from diversified sleeves into concentrated bets. Correlations rise. Volatility rises. Drawdowns travel faster across names that had nothing to do with AI. Your diversified basket starts acting like one trade. And we haven't even layered in derivatives. Market makers hedge IPO options by buying or shorting stock into jumps and dumps. Gamma swings tug at intraday momentum. If an at-the-money options book explodes in volume, hedging demand can push price where fundamentals wouldn't. That's noise you pay for when your fund tracks at the close, because options hedgers love the close. So what if demand lags? Then markdowns ripple. A weak open bleeds into VWAP algos, which drag average prices lower, which triggers more selling from risk parity and volatility targeting funds trimming exposure. Funds that promised AI inside chase outflows as their shiny new holding underperforms. The narrative fractures. The next indexed add-in still has to buy, but now it's buying against a trend. Lower price, lower weight, lower by ticket. Less support when support matters most. Meanwhile, remember those pre-bought gigawatts and cloud contracts? They don't shrink because a chart drew a sad face. Cash needs stay high. Headlines pivot to path to profit. Management talks about discipline. Street models walk numbers down. The stock becomes a macro proxy. Rates tick up, multiples compress. Rates tick down, hope breathes. Your 401k keeps feeding it either way, because the calendar says so. This was the moment everything changed again. The IPO stopped being a celebration of growth and turned into a transfer of risk. From SoftBank's term sheet, from Nvidia's capacity lane, from AWS exclusivity clause, into your retirement account at the close. Not because anyone targeted you, because the plumbing made it easy. The index squeeze. While traders stare at the tape, the real move happens in committee rooms. Float-adjusted indices still have to add huge weights fast. S&P, NASDAQ, MSCI, FTSE. Each has rules, but none can pretend a multi-hundred billion listing doesn't exist. If the free float clears the threshold and the liquidity screens are met, the timers start. That's when passive turns into pressure. Here's the boring but brutal part. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street run vehicles that must mirror those indices to the share. They don't like or dislike a name. They match it. And to match a monster add-in, they've got to free cash. That means selling existing names to fund the new weight. Price-insensitive buying meets price-insensitive selling on different tickers at the same close. That's the whipsaw. Get this, most defined contribution plans push people into cap-weighted target date funds by default. Every paycheck, fresh dollars flow into those funds, and those funds route flows into whatever the index says is biggest. If OpenAI, SpaceX, even Anthropic arrive near the top, your contributions chase them by design. You aren't rotating into AI. Your plan is. And it does it on a schedule you can't see without digging into rebalance memos. Unknown to most savers, there's a second lever, float adjustment. If only 10% is tradable at launch, the index counts that slice, not the whole pie. Sounds like relief, but at this size, even the slice is huge. So committees stage the ad. Some allow fast entry for mega caps, others wait for a quarter's trading history. Either way, it's staircase of forced demand. Each step means funds sell a basket of not AI stocks to make room for AI. Good names get clipped to pay for a ticker nobody owned last week. Meanwhile, market makers and quant desks front-run what they legally can. They model the weight, the free float factor, the likely inclusion window, then position. That front-running doesn't soften the blow for you. It widens it. Liquidity pools dry up in the names that will be sold, spreads fatten into the close, and your fund executes at the auction because that's how tracking error stays tight. Precision for them, slippage for you. Now layer in pensions. Many plans still use index-linked mandates for big sleeves. They rebalance monthly or quarterly. If a mega ad happens mid-cycle, they catch up at month-end. So you get this staggered squeeze, ETF trackers by first, then active closet indexers, then pension index sleeves at their scheduled windows. That stretches the impact across weeks. Every step pulls cash out of something else you own. Historical echo here, and not for nostalgia. In the 1970s, the Nifty 50's concentration pulled flows into a few can't-miss names. In the 1990s, dot-com crowding did the same. Back then, funds still had more discretion. Today, passive is bigger, rules are stricter, and automated tapes move faster. The same crowding, with less human friction, means sharper swings. The squeeze is structural, not sentimental. While that was happening on Wall Street, something else was happening at your HR portal. Auto-enrollment, auto-escalation, and default funds kept feeding the same cap-weighted pipe. If the new ads slip after listing, your next paycheck buys more to maintain weights. If they rip, your next paycheck buys more because they're now heavier. Heads, the index wins. Tails, your other holdings lose. It's the definition of price insensitive. And there's a catch most folks miss. Some indices cap sector weights, some don't. If AI listings slot under tech or communication services, the sector caps can force strange trades, selling healthy mid-caps to stay under a limit while still adding the mega. If they land in different sectors, aerospace for SpaceX, tech for OpenAI, the squeeze spreads wider. Either way, the shape of your diversification gets bent by committee math, not value. All of this sets up the next turn. Retirement plans auto-buy right into peak issuance. Retail can't time the flows. Institutions won't break their mandates to save your glide path. And the machine keeps humming because the machine only knows the rule. Which brings us to the point that hits at home. You can't stop an index committee. You can know when it's about to move. Calendars, methodology notes, float estimates. Those are tells. If the squeeze is coming, your best defense is to avoid standing right under it. Because the market pipe is one thing. The real-world bill? That's next. The real asset grab behind AI. While that was happening on Wall Street,